Poetry, the American Book Award, a Rockefeller Fellowship, a California Arts Grant, and is a San Francisco Deborah Buena Center for the Arts honoree. Her poems have appeared in Sochi, and cultural poetry and decolonial voices, Chicana and Chicano cultural studies in the 21st century. She has been a featured poet for numerous readings throughout the U.S., Mexico, Cuba, and Spain. Naomi holds a PhD in American history and contributes to scholarship of Chicana. What this I was just to say is that Naomi attempted to like everyone who sees, including myself, and I consider just a guide, a teacher, a goddess, and I'm so proud of just you. And everyone who I meet, I'm always like singing your praises, and you'll all hear live right now. So let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you all for being here. And yeah, please, if you're thirsty for wine or one little bit of chips, it's a good time to get that while I just give you a little bit of background about the Exile Moon. It's the second edition. I had a first edition. I was not happy with it. It's a self-published book. It's for sale here at the bookstore. The idea of exile, moon meaning the sacred feminine, that's part of what I live for, is the sacred feminine. And actually, if we were a balanced society, this is what we look like. Masculine, feminine energy, the polarities, being in balance with each other. The environment and humanity would be in balance with each other. But I guess that's what we're striving for, because that ain't where we are right now. And so the book contains a number of types of exiles. You know, usually we think of exile as a country that we leave, that we feel that we have to leave or we're forced to leave. But there are also other kinds of exiles. There's exiles that we have from each other in this highly segregated society we live in. And many times we're exiled from ourselves as well. So, who's cackling over there? All right, so
you were under the bus hella fast,
Yep.
No, that's okay. I've just been baptized. As we say, the floor wanted some water. But would you mind? That's okay. Would you mind? Yeah. All right. And I'm going to go ahead also and use the once again, introducing Ricardo Tavares, who will be accompanying. And I'm starting off with and I wanted to say, you know, the women who I've invited, the poets that are invited tonight, just really represent so many of you in this audience. You know, women who are creative and courageous and who've been advocates. You know, women who are not afraid to be who they are. So, you know, Leticia's always saying, oh, you're, you know, a role model. Well, I feel that when you have a role model, you become a role model yourself. Because, you know, and that's what we do. We feed and we nourish each other so we can feed and nourish others as well. So thank you so much, you know, my old pal here, Esther. I'm so happy that these good friends of mine here, Amanda and Stephanie, who has her book is coming up as well. So Patricia and Roberto, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to start, and also let's not forget El Famoso Josada, another newsroom, and definitely an ally. Thank you. This is Circles of Women, and it's a way to start off as a kind of prayer to, an offering to the sacred feminine. Circles of women. Circles of women surround me. They brush sorrows off my shoulders like dust and sprinkle moon water on my face so that I may wake to dreams of my own designs. Our circle is a round mouth laced in red lipstick and laughter. Half-moon smiles spill out candlelight, sage smoke, copal. We speak heartbeat to each other's unique palpitations. Small vibrations gather as one. We remember the bruised, broken faces that reside in our fears. We sort out futility from power and piece together new truths from the discarded fabric of old pain. We see the greatest lies intermingled with the highest truths. We hold flesh to moonlight and hear the muffled sounds of wounds healing. We utter the sacred songs written into the hands of the four directions, a circle of small moons spinning into a smoldering vortex. We invoke La Diosa, a hollow throat opens and swallows us. We are the entrails of Mother Earth. Fires lap at our heels. Winds howl like restless coyotes. Rivers of sweat roll down our stomachs. Our feet root in a mulch of earth and bones. Disease drains out of wounded hearts and weary bodies into the loving earth. We heal, we heal, we heal. We are planted in a mixture of earth and bone and memory. We tell our stories, sing our songs, bless and cleanse and invoke. Spirit of the East, place of new beginnings. Your winds brush our faces. Carry our prayers to the universe. Bring us wisdom on your wings. Spirit of the South, we invoke your vitality. Ignite our red flame passion. Fuel our desire for justice and love. Spirit of the West, slack our thirst for knowledge. Refresh our spirits with cleansing waters. Spirits of the North, Nuestra Madre Tierra, we honor you. Press our foreheads to the earth. Take in your energy and ground in compassion. In one sacred gesture of both offering and receiving, we open our arms, turn our palms up to the sky, give our energy to the moon and receive her light. Circles of women surround me. They brush sorrows off my shoulders like dust and sprinkle moon water on my face so that I may awake to dreams of my own designs. When you look at me. When you look at me, you see motel maids changing sheets in the pink and gray rooms your parents stay in. You see dark brown women on their knees scrubbing floors in Baja restaurants or standing with a blue-eyed child eating chips. It doesn't matter if I wear tweed suits and pace the floor on Da Vinci heels in front of busy chalkboards. You see Lupita, the nanny, with her TV mind. She wears mismatched clothes and slides heavily on leather huaraches towards her unwashed children. To you, I'm an aberration that confuses your senses and blurs your vision. It is difficult for you to recognize me as doctor. You want me to remain nameless, silent, invisible, but I stand before you speaking your language and teaching you things you're not sure of. Now you must either change the misguided notions of who I am or kill the me that cannot live in your world. 2. When you see me, when you look at me, you see educated nipples, intelligent legs, a brilliant ass. You chica mija chula me until you get beyond the fact that I have a PhD. In department meetings, I call for broad visions and student needs. You envision a broad who can meet your needs. You are unfamiliar with a woman who can see through your veneer. My loud, clear voice threatens your ear. To you, I am expendable. like the woman who keeps taking you back, like the mother who is always there to feed you, like that part of yourself that you thought you destroyed when you decided to become a thin, worn, metallic chair, a conflict without a resolution. Okay, this next poem is the one that when she was alive, my mother never wanted me to say. It has some sex in it. Walls at midnight. I want to rub myself against an unfolding line, the one I follow to those dark places. I want to place that sweet meridian in my mouth and suck until it explodes inside me. When I lean back with eyes closed, I want to see the many roads where travelers cross and where centuries unravel. To feel the pulse of river in my temples and the taste of spice on my tongue. I want to listen to the common prayer in all the utterances of all prayers and to lick the essence of distant flowers from the skin of wire fences. Sad the line, it turns to rope. It is a harsh cord yank across a geography of mute men and the animated corpses of women. Whose border is this anyway? Which side am I on? Why can't I just make love to you, blur the lines between heaven and hell, cure you of your bottom lines, round you off like a spiral, and make you mine? The poet's grip. Corrugated silence shadows the pierced skin of innocence. Time rolls darkly in some smelly cell, the kind that keeps the keeper's context on death row. One for all and all for destruction, the banter goes deep. Centuries of DNA pour into the rotting fields of war. Who are we to stand up to confiscated futures or resist the rattling sabers stuck halfway to our hearts? Who am I to know the secret of the stars and hands, constellations spread across a human palm, the anatomy of tomorrow? Hard walls edged between fabricated futures of failure and the long walls that line yet another trail of tears. Soldiers empty tired veins into barrels of black and blistered, camouflaged fear and humanity put on hold. Someday soon the ghost of what could have been will find us and demand what has been taken. I wet the hollow center of my poet's grip with the spit of terrorized histories and write the lost verses of evolution on the rough pages of decay. Now for something a little lighter. Humbling heart, murmur of love, upbeat and open, palpable breathbeat of ocean waves. Delicious fruit, pumping heart, blue-red temple of cosmic breath. My place with you on this unraveling planet is on the back of Boyle Shelby, celestial sprinter into time. Let's ride her spinning integrations, her full moon cycles, her spatial chaos, her galactic soul. Let's stir her into steaming coffee, sip her magic, feel her force. Let's taste her spirit, ingest her soul, welcome her with arms ablaze into the chamber of flesh and light. So speaking of thank you, speaking of Boyle Shelby, here is a image of Boyle Shelby, ancient Mexican goddess of the moon and a whole lot of other things as well. So Boyle Shelby This is one of the images. The other one you may have seen where it looks like she is fragmented. I see her more as our process of unification. So, the next one, oh, the New Warsaw Ghetto. I have to say the New Warsaw Ghetto came to mind when our children and families at the border were being separated. And I don't even know if that's still not happening. Because, you know, this administration has been pretty quiet about just what is happening in the border. Under the previous administration, everybody knew. And it was, you know, heartbreaking and devastating to see how people are treated trying to reach asylum and trying to reach safety in another country. So this is based on that. The New Warsaw Ghetto is around the corner on the Texas-Mexico border, down the street on the California border, the Arizona border. Publicly financed, corporately owned, government-operated enclaves of despair, the New Warsaw Ghetto metastasizes in the not-so-good old USA, in detention camps, in cages, in isolated, windowless prisons driven like spikes into the southern border. In the New Warsaw Ghetto, children are torn from their families and warehoused like animals, shivering under aluminum covers or left to sleep on unforgiving streets. In the New Warsaw Ghetto, tear-gassed mothers and the feds demother thousands of refugee children. They are red meat for haters, for men of means, and for mean men who follow the fascist rules of ethnic cleansing. The refugees are brown and must be kept out, must be kept down. The country is full, he says, as if it's a hotel. No room for you, even though this is their land too, their America. They have journeyed 3,000 miles to escape their failed states, a legacy of U.S. interventions, banana republics, dirty wars, exported torture, exploitation, and control. They have entered into a mouth of hatred, a tight sphincter of hostility. In the New Warsaw Ghetto, families disintegrate, disappear, desaparecidos. To the haters, I say, careful, lest you become a refugee. Of a fire, a flood, a mudslide, a drought, a tsunami, an earthquake, a tornado, a hurricane, a market crash, a massacre, a mortgage, a sinkhole, an eviction, a tyrant, a war. Careful, lest you become a refugee, forced to escape collapsing ports of entry from which there is no return. Careful, lest you become a refugee, desperate and stuck on an invented line, stranded on a slim island of terror, denied, denounced, dehumanized. Careful, we're all straddling thin, frayed edges, the uncertainty of madmen, of natural disasters, eminent domains, and rash developments of Warsaw ghettos. Soon we may all be on the move in search of a refuge from disintegrating societies, natural catastrophes, and from the paralyzing devastation of human love. Imagine we are on the edge of time. The apocalypse has already happened. Oh, wait a minute. To the last one. We have dropped black oily poisons into a tunnel of churning water. We have dropped blood like dirty bombs into the womb of Mother Earth. We drop our drawers to bend over for the gang rape of capital. Production lines and pensions fall into archived memory classified for maximum droppage. The Constitution drops like an old tattered love letter from a numb, feeble hand. We are dropping into an abyss of our own making. With our own hands, we pull the lever to flush ourselves down the swirling toilet bowl. The passage of shit is slow and laborious. The passage of light, limitless. Why are we dropping? Why are we dropping like flies, earth falling, fires burning, winds exploding, water dripping, dropping onto rotted floorboards, flooded warlords at the door? Someday soon our bodies will drop, heavy, wet bathing suits to the floor. Falling, we drop some more. Soon there will be nothing to hold us up. My earring. Okay. Some goes kind of fast. Time is disappearing, poles are shifting, glaciers are melting, oceans are heating, volcanoes exploding, mountains sliding, air evaporating, land is losing, light is dimming, men manipulating, media minds meandering. Lawyers are looting, our children are shooting, developers polluting, the doctors are drugging, the papers are plugging, politicians lying, the president spying, the government is dying, winds are crying, land will not be drying. The schools are closing, principals posing, students are supposing the end is near. Dealers are winning, the elite class whining, workers not working, poor are pouring into pits of warring. The water is wasting, oil men taking, priests are raping, boys shaking, bodies taking, hearts are breaking. The trees are toppling, birds are dropping, fish are frying, torturers are tying, soldiers are burning and not returning, souls are hurting, mothers grieving, churches deceiving. Warlords are stealing, women are healing, hatred is killing, millionaires milling, billionaires billing, the Gulf is boiling, migrants are killing, labor is exploiting. The White House is sinking, the PR is stinking, senators winking, cocktail glasses tinking. Humanity is reeling, faces are peeling, the drug dealers dealing, the dead have no feeling. Clocks are ticking, dogs are licking, Congress is tricking, the House dividing, the people fighting, thieves are picking, democracy sickening. The past is haunting, the present mocking, the future is daunting. My stocking is running. My resolve should be stronger. I could live longer. My ear is ringing. Lovers are loving, jokers are cunning. The children are grinning, love light is pinning, a new beginning for the saved and the sinning, the self and the other, the father, the mother, the guide and the guardian, the children sweet pardon. The singer's soft song, rose light of dawn, the me and the you, a polished red shoe, a witch's sweet brew, the changes are due. You know, actually, that's an older poem, and unfortunately, it's still relevant, you know? That was written at another time with another administration. And here we are again. Okay. Indigo. Indigo holds the rainbow together above a stark opaline night. Irradiated air and gunshots shattered the music of rain. She strains softly into dark blue shadow, pulling tattered bags off her shopping cart to place over her head. Her eyes are swollen, bruised by time and misfortune. They lift heavily from the weight of want. Oh, mama, that you are, or have been, or could be, the blues have stolen your life and placed you on an Oakland street corner, a dark, wet island of exile, a netherworld of gnawing hunger, parched, muttering lips, and relentless rain that will not wash out the indigo stains of your heart. These these incredible catastrophes we've been having. This one was written with this Indonesian tsunami happened, and I think, what was it, 20,000 people died, possibly more. So, unfortunately, there have been more since then. It's called Mama Mara. Mama Mara. I don't blame you for your thrust and tumble, the rumble inside your skin. I do not blame your sweep and swallow, your shallow to deep, your pull and push against the islands of despair. I do not blame your megaton waves, your steel blue foam, your wet red sands. I can only contemplate great energies released and give the dead their due. Watch the steady stream of dreams passing into an aftermath where all things become one. Plastic and elastic, shards of moss, tires and silver forks, soggy shoes, laptops and tabletops, doors and ruined books. Around the limp bodies of children, a million cell phones swirl, the batteries dead too. All swollen into one mixture of our precious lives and junk. I do not blame you for stiff blue fingers that stab the air or the eyes that float in the angry surf. I only know the awe that waits me, like the pain that breaks me, to the truth of you. Okay, walk. Another day of femicide. I mean, I did not say that with any kind of disrespect, but you know, femicide. I started out to write this, or I wrote this poem during the time the mujeres de Juarez were disappearing, and then as time has gone on, it's Native women, you know, in Canada, there are women in all over Central America are disappearing and being found buried or in pieces or just totally disappeared. So this was not an easy poem to write, but I wanted to bring to our collective attention that unfortunately femicide is all too common in this patriarchal world that we live in. And that morning, like every morning, Maria woke before dawn, dressed quickly to the ominous rooster crow. Her frayed sweater slipped hastily and nervously over a thin frame, fragile as packaged eggs. Maria uncovered a rusty cage from where Pepito chirped. She sweet-talked the sunny canary as she poured him water. Her time to smile was short. Desperate to arrive there on time, she grabbed a cold tortilla, anxiously kissed her mother goodbye, and walked quickly into the dark. By the time the sun rose between planks of steel gray smog and smoke-stained clouds, Maria reached the edge of her decayed town. It was a 2-hour walk, a 10-hour day, and 2 hours to return from there to the thin green shanty her family occupied. She was like hope hanging from the family throat, a swinging pendulum of uncertainty, a small dark pendant of chance. 50 cents an hour staved off hunger, but the dark circles tattooed under her eyes told a story too desperate for a 17-year-old girl. The long walk in the desert of her birth felt heavy that morning. The earth, a soft sponge, swallowed her legs as she sank into the porous sand. When Maria finally arrived there, perspiration-drenched, limp black hair, a wrinkled blouse, No, she silently screamed to herself as her breath disappeared. The massive metal gate slammed shut before her paralyzed eyes. In the vertigo of the moment, Maria heard the deafening drone of the maquiladora. Desperate to enter, she thought of throwing herself against the clenched maw of the metal door, but her legs sank deeper, as if she were disappearing into sand. Another day, Maria would have rushed past the chrome-barred entrance, searching for her friend Alma among the hundreds of dark-haired women confined as potted plants. On another day, she would have taken her place at one of dozens of long tables laid out like dominoes across a fluorescent floor. On another day, she would have grabbed her gray smock, rubbed her mother's special ointment into her swollen hands to lift the heavy metal staple gun. On another day, Maria would have spent the next 10 hours in the airless, windowless box of a Honeywell Corporation. On another day, after a robotic announcement ended her shift and the voices of men shouting orders retreated to the back of her mind, Maria would have joined her friends for the long walk home. But not today. Maria would pay the price for those 3 minutes, $5 a week's worth of tortillas, or a gallon of water, a dozen eggs, or a bag of chile gone. Worse, another incident could replace her. They were all replaceable, expendable as machine parts. Anxiety ensured a place inside the machine. The desert's eerie quiet contained her famished days as she left there to start her dark, numb journey back to her shanty. Pepito flew into her mind, his yellow ruffled feathers, his morning song whistled in her head. Maria's not sure when she heard them. It started out as a muffled sound of a truck engine carrying the distant laughter of men, but soon, too soon, the truck, the laughter, the men were on her. Maria, startled into consciousness, began to run, but she was too far away from the maquiladora and too far from the shanty, too far from her next breath. Out of nowhere, a rope reached to lasso her. She felt the drag of sharp, hot rocks scrape against her body. She saw the blood. She smelled the fumes of oily exhaust, and she heard the harsh, insane shouts of madmen. Roars hurled brutality, the ripping of her clothes by coarse, hard hands. They were the last sounds she heard, but Maria was never heard from again. The next morning, after a night of anguish and a dawn of cruel grief, Maria's mother limply lifted the cover of the birdcage and found Pepito's yellow, lifeless body on the seed-strewn floor. I didn't need to applaud for that, but I do appreciate that. Yes. I'll do a few more. Let me just, because, they're not the happiest poems here. This next one, A Rock is Thrown, I was inspired to write it when it came to the news that women in Africa were being stoned to death for having other relations that they were not supposed to according to their society. So I thought about the rock and the idea of Peter. Peter means rock in what language is it? I forget. What? In Italian? Okay. So, okay, here we go. A rock is thrown. Once there were excuses for boiling women in a pot, locking her up to rot. Accused witches, the fatally unclean under moral strictures that intervened in the life of women who had to worry about God, the husband, the secret jury. Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife and could not keep her, so he put her in a shell, and there he kept her very well. Throw a witch in deep water, if she drowns, she's the devil's daughter. Place her body on a burning stake, If she burns, there's no mistake. Peter, Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife and could not keep her, so he put her in a cell, and there he kept her very well. Today there is no need for proof of evil. Her existence alone renders her feeble, renders her useless and or expendable. To the deep needs of men, she is dependable. Peter, Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife and could not keep her, so he cast her in a spell, and there he kept her very well. Free of pretense, outside the law, the degenerate patriarch slams its paw to suffocate her ringing voice, to control her body, to repress her choice. And if that does not achieve the goal of women's place on the totem pole, then bind her, beat her, slash her face, murder the source of the human race, for no good other reason than he has the power, and he can. All right. So I'm just going to go into the last poem now, before we all start listening to tears.
Or we could sacrifice a man to feel better. I nominate John.
No. I'm about to say his legs are too pretty for that.
Wow, well then he can show us his legs. Exploit him.
All right. So I'm going to end with...
Or we could do like a wrestling match.
Okay.
That way you like.
After I'm down for the wrestling match with you and somebody else.
No!
Oh, now we're talking. Taking bets. Taking bets.
Okay, so you know the beautiful women's building not far from here. There's a beautiful book that was put together by the women who painted that women's building. And as a matter of fact, one of the original painters of the Mujeres Muralistas is here, Patricia Rodriguez. And so there's so much there that inspires, and this will be more of a uplifting poem. It's a great way to end. So I'd like to read passages. Okay? There are passages of history written by women with pens and paint, with scars and blood and beating hearts, wolf mother locas who bay at the moon to receive the warrior's light, medicine mamas ready with remedies for bodies and minds and souls. A blood sunrise is tattooed on their hearts. There is thunder in their voices and lightning in their veins. Feet march, fists rise, ideas radiate. Divine feminine awakened ignites action, engenders genius, forges the infinite collaborations of culture, community, and survival. There are sisters who bear burdens and beauty, who birth children and ideas, wounded warriors who seek to heal and yearn to restore planetary balance, and to be in alignment with earth, with moon, with sun, with self, with each other. Time slows, eyes close, palms meet, thoughts surrender to the eternity of breath that merges with the divine. La diosa is in the house. Kuan Yin, Guel Shauki, and Oba dance to Oshun's river tempos. Shiva spins oldies and Kali falls into the salty arms of Yemaya on a delicious full moon night. The goddess is present in the words of Rigoberta Menchú, in the passion of Lolita Lebron, in the love of Audre Lorde. La diosa is well and kicking and ready to inhabit hearts, expand minds, lift spirits, renew societies. Receive the Maday plant offering, the gift of golden corn. Drink the rising waters and calm the shaking earth. Write the passages she longs for, with your joy and with your tears. Satisfy your soul. Stand in the power of the sacred feminine and be the evolution. Really wonderful to share this with you, and I thought that maybe we'd have a few minutes if you have any questions. I mean, there's rarely, usually people read the poetry and